Hey guys, it's Super Lupa here back with another video, and I'm going to be trying something a little different today because I realized that I'm not really good at coherently talking about things. My whole channel is basically me talking about things, but I'm not good at it. I'm not good at it. That's only something I can do, not be good at my literal job. Anyway, so I decided that I'm going to be talking about like a few things that I don't feel I can talk about long enough to justify an entire video, but I still want to discuss on this channel. I have like 6 or 7 things I want to talk about, so we're just gonna talk about them for a few minutes and then move, because I feel like that's a lot more engaging than just talking about one long thing and going around in circles. And also, as usual, ignore background noises. I'll try my best, but you know, you don't come to this channel for high production value. And also, if you hear me like eating and drinking and stuff, it's because I have Blend chips like right next to me that I'm eating while I'm filming. So, yeah. The first thing I want to talk about is Jeff Bezos going to space, because that was truly an assault on my eyes. I should not have to go to the kitchen trying to make snacks and see on CNN that Jeff Bezos and all his like rich buddies are sitting around talking about how they went on a space joyride to the edge of the atmosphere. Like, it's sick. People like in the like Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk echelon are, I think, the most insufferable to people simply because they are in the limelight, and those are like the names that you can kind of name off when you think billionaire. And Bill Gates as well. He had this whole shtick going around where he was like the quote nice billionaire, and I'm like, y'all believe that?
Oh, I didn't know that we were inviting clowns.
I don't know why you thought Bill Gates was a good person. Anyway, not the point. But anyways, honestly, seeing Jeff Bezos shoot off to space in a penis-shaped rocket just because he can honestly scares me a lot, because I was literally just talking about this like last week with my sister, talking about how I'm kind of scared about how space exploration is being like privatized. First with Elon Musk talking about going on Mars and launching rockets where he's not allowed to launch rockets, and now Jeff Bezos going on a joyride to the edge of the atmosphere. It scares me because low-key, especially with like the climate crisis coming to a head right now, it low-key scares me because I have this just thought in the back of my mind that's just like, what if they just shoot off to space, shoot off to Mars, and leave the rest of us here to rot while the world is burning?
I am the big idea. My twins big like Tia. My twins big like Tia Tamara.
Like, I think that way too much now. Like, that is literally a consistent thought that I think at least every other day, and it's honestly scary. I just don't think I have the range to completely get in depth about this, but like Jeff Bezos shooting himself off to space kind of signifies to me that my fears about space exploration being privatized are valid, because before, right, when we went to the moon and everything, and, you know, doing our projects up in space, it's like NASA doing it, like a national organization whose job it is to do this, like a national organization who has to answer to something, right? But now, billionaires can literally just launch themselves to space willy-nilly if they feel like it. And I really just don't like when things get privatized. It's never good. Like, it's never good when things get privatized, because then a whole lot of nonsense ensues. Again, I do not have the range to talk about it, but you know, that's my opinion. Also, one thing that especially boils my blood is that this man goes on in his little friggin' speech to thank the Amazon employees for helping him pay for the flight. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. You didn't pay for this with your own money?
I want to thank every Amazon employee and every Amazon customer, because you guys paid for all this. So seriously, for every Amazon customer out there and every Amazon employee, thank you from the bottom of my heart very much. It's very appreciated.
I am disgusted.
Super villain material, because that part especially boiled my blood. And like, I just don't like this man. I don't like billionaires in general, but just God. I don't like how something as big as going to space is being privatized, because I have a bad feeling. I have a bad feeling that along the line, this is not going to go well. This is not going to go well. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that. Moving on, I want to talk about Billie Eilish, and then I'll lead into something else, because I think that kind of connects to something else. I'm going to talk about Billie Eilish. So recently, Billie Eilish has kind of started becoming problematic. First of all, there was this whole controversy with her Lost Cause music video where people were saying that she was queer baiting in a music video, and that is honestly not my place to speak on that. That's not my realm. That's not my place. What I can speak on is that there's also a video of her resurfacing where her brother Phineas tells her to stop speaking in her black accent, which this has been a problem for a while. Billie Eilish low-key appropriating black culture and like speaking in things like a black accent to appear more cool, I guess. Even her own brother had to call her out on it and be like, yo, that's not cool. That's not the serve that you think it is. So that was a little concerning. And in addition, an interview came out. I don't know if this was recent. I think it was recent because she had blonde hair. I think this was a fairly recent interview where she says that her favorite character in the Boondocks is, what's her name? Cindy? I think her name's Cindy.
Damn, I feel like my favorite cartoon character honestly would be Cindy from the Boondocks. Cause that's like me. That's me. That's me if I just did all the things I thought about doing. If I didn't have good judgment, I think that's me. Who knows if I have good judgment though, low-key.
I haven't watched the entirety of the Boondocks, but from what I can gather, Cindy is basically a stand-in for white girls who, quote, act black. So for Billie to say that Cindy is her favorite character is literally her missing the entire point. And she relates to Cindy. She said she relates to Cindy if I did all the things that I thought in my head, which is very, very concerning because it's like, Miss Eilish, like, do you mind elaborating on that a little bit? Like, what do you mean by that? Because that line was the thing that just made me like, what in God's name? Like, what's going on? What is going on here? What's going on? Because I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Also, why is Billie watching the Boondocks anyway? Like, when non-black people watch the Boondocks and find it funny, I'm like, what exactly are you finding funny? Let's unpack that conversation. Let's unpack that. Because what are you as a non-black person relating to and finding funny about the Boondocks? It was just kind of like, Lord Jesus, like, oh no, like the fact that Cindy and everyone in the Boondocks being like a stereotype, like completely flew over your head and saying that you relate to Cindy, a stereotype of how white girls, quote, act black. It's not a good look for you. It's not a good look. And then there's also conversation about Billie Eilish's boyfriend, who is racist and homophobic. We definitely need to talk about that because what's going on with that? I mean, you claim to be against racism and homophobia, but you're dating someone who is racist and homophobic. We need to talk about that for sure. But I think a key thing that's being missed here, like I don't hear being talked about as much, is the fact that this man is 29 while Billie is like freshly 18. Or actually, Billie is 19. So Billie is 19 years old and this man, her boyfriend, is 29.
Arrested, prosecuted, send him to jail.
It's giving kind of grooming, and I really don't like that pattern I'm seeing with Billie specifically, because I remember there was another one. There was another person that she was like all up on when she was 16. And I'm like, is nobody looking out for her? Like, is nobody looking out for this girl? Because it feels like she finds herself around predatory people, and it makes me extremely uncomfortable. And it's like, are her parents not on this? Are her parents not on this? Are the people around her not on this? Are her team not on this? You know, like, it's, I don't know. I think that's a key thing that's missing from the conversation around Billie's boyfriend. Because yes, you do need to talk about his racism and homophobia, but like, I feel like maybe we should kind of talk about that age gap, because what's an almost 30-year-old doing with a 19-year-old? Like, what's going on? What is going on? Legitimately. And this is kind of part of like a bigger pattern I'm seeing. Like, I'm really seeing with young female stars being what's the word? Predated on? Predatorized? I say predatorized. That's not a word, but I say that. Being predatorized on by grown people. And I'm seeing this with Olivia Rodrigo as well. Olivia Rodrigo is 18. Her boyfriend, Adam Faze, is 24.
Arrested, prosecuted, send him to jail.
So again, what is a 24-year-old doing with an 18-year-old? It's giving like a really disturbing pattern that I really don't like to see. So it feels like whenever these like young stars are being discussed, we don't talk about how a lot of times there's such a significant age gap between them and their partners. Like, it's giving grooming, it's giving predatory. It's not giving anything good. And again, when we like discuss Billie Eilish's boyfriend, I feel like we don't talk about that age gap enough. Like, immediately when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute, hold on, isn't she being groomed? But to my surprise, nobody was talking about that aspect of it, at least nobody that I've seen. But yeah, that's my opinion. I keep saying that. Of course it's my opinion. It's my video. Speaking of terrible men in the industry, let's talk about Lil Uzi Vert's situation. The Lil Uzi Vert situation where he allegedly squared up with his ex-girlfriend's man and how he was violent against his ex-girlfriend, allegedly. It's always when black women are discussed. It's always when black women are discussed that everybody wants to talk about, well, it's not proven. It's always when black women are discussed. Whatever. Again, I believe the victim. That's it. Like, I believe the ex-girlfriend. I believe her. And there's this like disturbing track pattern going around where people will just immediately assume that the woman who is saying that this famous person has been violent against them or has done them wrong in some way, that they're immediately looking for clout. I don't like that. Again, like, I keep bringing up the Megan Thee Stallion situation, but it's just such like the most glaring example of this. It's always like fuck the police and ACAB until black women are the ones who are complaining. Then all of a sudden the tune immediately switches to, well, we need to wait for the police report. We need to see all this friggin' proof. We need to see everything. We need to make sure that you are not lying. It's so just crazy to see how the narrative immediately flips from fuck the police to we need to wait for the police to say something. Speaking of black people, I was on Twitter. I'm not gonna tell you my Twitter because I'm not ready for that. But I was on Twitter and there was this tweet talking about, I want to hear your unpopular anime opinions. And I said, not controversial, but where are the black people, black MCs specifically? And the way I thought I was delivering an ice cold take, the way I thought I was giving an absolutely uncontroversial, everyone can agree on take. But all of a sudden, people are yelling in my mentions and my quotes, talking about why do I feel the need to be represented by anime? Why do I feel the need to be represented by anime? Because because anime was made in Japan for Japanese people, so therefore we don't want no black people in it.
How are you doing?
I hate it here because y'all don't want to see black people in anything. Y'all don't want to see black people in anything at all. Okay, so editing me here, I was going through this part and I realized that I was kind of talking around in circles and I couldn't explain things as concisely and as clearly as I could have, so I'm going to try again here. So basically, what I was trying to say is that one of people's favorite arguments for why black people shouldn't be in anime is that, well, anime is made in Japan and anime appeals to Japanese audiences, and since Japan is such a homogenous country, why do we have to have black people? Why should we even care about representing black people? And I didn't say this on Twitter because Twitter is not the place for nuanced, thoughtful takes. It just isn't. Like, I see some of it on there, but it just isn't a place for nuanced, thoughtful takes. It's not a place to explain yourself. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that because Japan is such a homogenous place, it is even more reason to have diverse representation. Because Japan is such a homogenous place, it is actually necessary to have different types of people being represented in media. In a place as, I'm gonna say homogenous a lot, so take a shot every time I say homogenous. It'll be fun after like 10 seconds and then you'll die. In a place as homogenous as Japan, it is very easy for things like racism and anti-blackness to go unchecked, because what black person is gonna check you when you say some anti-black nonsense? Who is going to check you? Nobody's going to check you. So parasocial relationships is probably one of the only ways that you can, in such a place, interact with different people and different cultures and different perspectives. If you connect with a black character, like in an anime, it might force you to confront your preconceived notions and stereotypes of what you think black people are and how you think they behave. And you see this character in the show being all awesome and cool and, you know, doing things, being multifaceted, and you're like, wait a minute, hold on. this doesn't match up with my thoughts. This doesn't match up with what I think should be happening. So, they might force them to reevaluate their perspective and be less anti-Black. There was actually one comment under my tweet that said that they do not have a problem with the lack of Black MCs. More so, they just want Black characters in general, because anime is so comfortable representing white people and using European aesthetics to tell their stories, but as soon as we want Black people in it, it's a problem. And I realized, wait a minute, hold on, this comment is onto something, because I can think of Attack on Titan, one of the most popular animes in recent years. Their entire cast, except Mikasa and Levi, are white. They're all white people. I can also think of Black Clover, where they're literally set in medieval times. It's just so, by your logic, white people shouldn't exist either. White people shouldn't exist in anime either, but they do in overwhelming amount. But nobody says anything. But as soon as we say, hey, we want Black people in it. We want to see Black people in anime. We want to see Black people be represented. Then all of a sudden it's a problem. And that's how I know it's not because y'all want accuracy. It's because y'all just don't like Black people. Because y'all let magic, a world of all white people where Titans eat everyone, exist. But somehow having a Black person in an anime is somehow too much to ask for. The only two popular animes that I can think of that have Black representation is Afro Samurai and Michiko and Hatchin. Those are the only two mainstream ones that I can think of off the top of my head. So it's why is it just so hard? It's animated. They're literally animated. All you gotta do is make them brown. Draw a character, make them brown. Of course I'm oversimplifying, but it's come on? Why is it so hard to ask for? Why is it such a problem when Black people want to be represented when y'all are so comfortable showing white people? It's just so... Anyways, moving on. I thought I was delivering an ice cold take, and apparently people are anti-Black. People are anti-Black and don't like seeing Black people anywhere. I already knew that, but still surprises me for some reason. Also, along the lines of that tweet, controversial anime opinions, I also said that I don't know if this is really controversial, because I can't think of anything. I don't like being controversial for no reason. And I don't think my opinions are really controversial. So, I thought that about Black people being in anime, but, I was wrong. So maybe my opinions are controversial. But also, I tweeted, which is, my banger tweet got, almost 200 likes. So, I'm famous. I'm Twitter famous right now. I said that the way that Mineta from My Hero Academia, the way that him sexually harassing every single girl that he is around is played for laughs. The way that Mineta's constant sexual harassment of every single girl that he is around is played for laughs is disgusting and gross. I don't like that.
That pissed me off, for real. Why do you act like that?
Like what?
The way that you act. You don't see how you act, why people don't want to be around you?
No.
Look how you act.
Mm-hmm. I know.
That just doesn't sit well with me in my spirit, especially since one, they're all teenagers. All these girls are teenagers. And two, he was literally training to be a pro hero, and he's sexually harassing every girl in his class and beyond. And here's just the thing about Mineta in general. A lot of people like Mineta. Too many people I see like Mineta, and it's I don't get it. And he receives absolutely no consequences for his actions. And in one episode, he's literally validated, talking about how women is a reason to become a pro hero. It's just so awful. And it's part of a wider conversation about how My Hero Academia does its female characters. But again, I don't have the energy. I don't have the time or energy to get into that. So while we're here, screw Mineta. I hate Mineta. Also, while we're on the train of My Hero Academia, while we're on that thought train, I don't like Bakugo. I said this in another video before. I don't like Bakugo. He's just so loud. Why are you yelling? Why are you yelling at me? You'll never convince me to like this person. You will never convince me to like him. What's going on? Why is he the way that he is ultimately? Answer quickly. Why are you yelling all the time? Also, while we're on the My Hero Academia, there's a lot of things I have to say about My Hero Academia. I can make an entire video on My Hero Academia because honestly, there's just so much to get into there. It's just oh my gosh, what's going on? But all I'm gonna say in this video is that the universe don't care about kids. Y'all don't care about kids. No hero in that universe cares about kids at all, except Rocklock. But the rest of them don't care about kids at all. The rest of them don't care about kids. I will not elaborate on that because if you watch the show, you'll know what I'm talking about. They don't care about kids, besides Rocklock. Mostly because he's the only one I've seen with a child. But Endeavor has a child and he doesn't care about him either. Screw Endeavor. None of the adults care about kids besides Rocklock. Moving on. Also, this is my last subject. This is just talking about back to school pandemic madness. I want to talk about that because I'm about to go back to school in a few weeks and I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So they're not going to require masks. They're not mandating vaccines to go back to school. So we're all going to go into lockdown again. That's just what's going to happen. That's just a logical conclusion to all this stupidity. Vaccines have been out and less than half of the US population have gotten vaccinated. Because let's keep in mind that little kids, like kids under like 12 years old, aren't even allowed to get vaccinated yet. Y'all are not mandating masks to go back to school. Y'all are not mandating vaccines to go back to school. So y'all just want us to lock down again. I can't think of the logical conclusion to this. Like I cannot think of any other conclusion other than we're all gonna have to go back on lockdown. We're gonna have to do this all over again because y'all don't want to get vaccinated. I'm sick and tired of it. And also, people who are talking about mandating vaccines and infringing upon my personal freedom, I don't know if you know this, but you have to get vaccinated for things to go to school. You have to be up to date on your vaccinations to go back to school. I don't know how you don't know that, but you have to have certain vaccines to go to school. In fact, let me Google it right now. People don't want to use Google, even though it's literally so easy. According to the CDC, if the page will load. Okay, so according to the CDC, you have to be up to date on your like vaccines for chickenpox, tetanus, the flu, measles, polio. Like you have to get vaccines for all of these things to go to school. So I'm so confused as to how y'all have a problem with getting required to get vaccinated for a pandemic that is literally ravaging the world. Like y'all already have to do this. It's not past normal protocol. It's not infringing on anything that you are doing already. It's sick. It's sick and twisted. Also, as a quick side note, I don't know how many schools are offering online schooling like they did last year, but my school specifically, it offers online school, except it is massively scaled back. Like you are pretty much only allowed to do like the bare minimum essentials. Like you aren't allowed athletics, you aren't allowed a lot of subjects as well. Like it's really, really bare bones. So it's basically like if you want to get like a good school experience, you kind of have to come back to school. Like they're low-key forcing kids to come back to school, which I think really sucks because some people did really, really well online because it was a new format and it's a format that actually fit them. So I'm really, really bummed out about that. Anyway, that's the end of the video. So, get vaccinated if you can. Because I acknowledge that there are people who might not be able to get vaccinated. So, like, get vaccinated if you can. Please, please. And keep your mask on. We're not done. Keep your mask on. Anyway. So, yeah. With all that being said, this was very tiring. I'm gonna have to edit this down. This is nearly 40 minutes of footage right here. So, anyways, with all that being said, stay safe. Get vaccinated. Keep your mask on. With all that being said, have a soupy day. Bye, guys.